What is going on, guys? Back again with another Arbitrum ecosystem update. As usual, nothing in this video is financial advice, and everything I say is my opinion, and my opinion alone. We have a very, very long one today. I said I was going to keep them short, but there's just way too many things to talk about, so we're just going to start off with this post by Vitalik. This is actually one piece of a long thread, or even just bigger post that he put out today about Ethereum, the future of it, as well as blobs, and of course, rollups. So in this post, he puts, fourth, continue improving on security. We need to raise our standards. By the end of the year, I think we should only refer to rollups that are at least stage 1 as rollups. Moving to stage 2, fully trusting code, is the next step and will require moving carefully. And if you click in actually on the tweet that he shared, this is part of the bigger blog post he put up. He says that we are still far from a world where rollups are truly protected by code. In fact, according to L2 Beat, only these 5 rollups, of which only Arbitrum is full EVM, have even reached what I have called stage 1. And this includes the like of Fuel, DGate, DYDX, and ZK Sync. Shout out to Fuel for that $915 in TVL. That's insane. So this is definitely a really, really important topic here. I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but I will say that, like, you know, our Arbitrum 1 has been at stage 1 decentralization for quite some time actually now. I want to say it was ever since, I think it's actually been at stage 1 decentralization for a year now that I think about it. And this year, obviously, with the release of Bold, I think Bold actually might have come out last year now, which is insane. That's permissionless validation, essentially, for Arbitrum chains. It's quite possible that Arbitrum 1 does become the only universal stage 2 this year. Well, I should say, like, at the very least, the first. I think the closest second probably is, I mean, it probably would be Optimism, but I'm kind of surprised that the other ZK rollups aren't kind of there either. I guess it just depends on where the actual decentralization stuff lines up for them. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm not as familiar with ZK rollups as I am with optimistic rollups, but nonetheless. Obviously I fully agree with Vitalik here. Like at the end of the day, it's like the fact that we're even, for example, calling Blast a rollup is insane. Like the fact that, or I should say, like a layer 2, I guess we're calling it, right? Layer 2 rollup. Again, we've been arguing about terminology for a long time now already, but I will say that, Arbitrum 1 is currently the only universal stage 1 rollup and will very likely be the only stage 2 universal rollup this year. At least that's my bet. I have no idea. I'm not a developer. I'm just a guy talking with a mic. Next, we have a tweet by TapNation. They say, we're excited to announce a new integration with Trailblazers, Arbitrum, and Sequence. This initiative marks a significant milestone in our journey, integrating Web3 features in 2 of our games, Monster Squad Rush and Cornhole League. So this is actually a very big announcement. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to put out a tweet earlier today. Let me just go ahead and pull that up real quick. TapNationGames, here we go, is essentially behind some of the biggest mobile games that people play day to day. For example, Monster Squad Rush has 37 million downloads between Android and iOS, as well as Cornhole League, which has 12 million downloads as well between Android and iOS. These are just 2 of their games that they plan on integrating Web3 features into. But the company itself, this is their homepage. They literally have over 1 billion downloads, and I think they said 60 million monthly active users. And these are just some of the examples of some of the apps that they have on the different app stores, the mobile app stores. And I think with that being said, I think it's really important to remind everyone that we don't scale from just on-chain activity with wallets, right? The real way we scale at the end of the day is through abstraction. Okay, ad block, there you go. Is through abstracting a lot of this stuff away, making blockchain kind of the backbone of this technology that we're building. And so the average user doesn't even know what they're using, right? It's like using the internet. I think everyone uses that example, but do you really know how the internet protocol works? No. I don't know how any of that stuff works, right? It just works. That's the point. And I think blockchain is slowly building its way up to get to that point. But scalability definitely is the biggest factor right now. And I will say that this is kind of going into the next topic, but having layer 3s and essentially these different chains that can kind of scale on top of one another is really, really important. App-specific ones in this case. Not saying that TapNation is necessarily creating a layer 3, but they are using Arbitrum and Sequence in this case to actually integrate Web3 into their games somehow, some way. I don't think they actually went into detail here. But nonetheless, still a huge, huge announcement that I think kind of flew under the radar with all the other things happening today. But yeah, so shout outs to TapNation and Sequence for that. We have a really big announcement today as well. This is a first, actually. This is I'll go ahead and read it from Arbitrum first. We're very excited to see DEGENtokenbase, or DEGEN token on base, be the first ever Arbitrum Orbit L3 on base, the L2. Built in collaboration with Syndicate, Conduit, and Decent. Build whatever you want, wherever you want with Arbitrum. This is a very, very big announcement. So as was said there, essentially this is, so base, as all you guys know, is an L2 based on the OP stack. This is the first time an L3 is created on base, from my understanding, and it also happens to be the first L3 that is an orbit chain on base, like on a different chain essentially, right? Orbit chains, L3 orbit chains, I should say, so far have all been on Arbitrum, of course, but because of that, I want to call it the Arbitrum expansion program that was announced, I think, a couple months ago now. People essentially can now launch layer 3s on different L2s or L2s on Ethereum directly, as long as 10% of the sequencer revenue is going back to the Arbitrum DAO. So very, very exciting to see this. They're using base for settlement, as I said, and AnyTrust for DA. I actually didn't realize they were using AnyTrust. That's pretty cool. Which, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. But nonetheless, very exciting stuff. And like, for those of you who don't know, like, because I think people who watch this may not be that into the Farcaster community, DEGEN, to my understanding, was essentially like one of the first meme tokens on base, and was kind of cultivated from this, like, that's the /DEGEN channel on Farcaster. And now, to my understanding, you can essentially tip people with DEGEN, using Farcaster. You've been able to do that for a while, actually, but I guess the idea here is once, I guess, everything migrates over to DEGEN chain, which DEGEN chain is live right now, actually, I guess all that tipping will actually be happening on DEGEN chain versus base. So pretty exciting stuff. I also wanted to call out this tweet by Benji over here. I don't want to... Okay, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and quote, because so essentially he was asking, why did the DEGEN L3 use Arbitrum Orbit instead of the OP stack? In this case, it was actually because of the custom gas token feature. So they are using DEGEN token instead of ETH as a gas token, which is currently only possible on Arbitrum, like, natively. I think you can do it on other chains technically, but it's not like native. It's like a kind of like an implementation after the fact. But Benji also says, by the way, not complaining, I think it's healthy. It's on the super chain anyway, and DEGEN L3 fees get paid to base, which then revenue splits with Optimism. The Optimism Collective then puts it to sustaining retro funding. So this is really interesting in that, like, you essentially now have an layer 3 that's like contributing to like multiple ecosystems, contributing to base because it's built on top of it. It's contributing to Optimism's retro funding system, which of course is, base's part of that. Like they're using their technology, and then obviously it's also contributing to the Arbitrum DAO because it's a layer 3 using Arbitrum technology. It's a very, very kind of like weird split of like all these different things, but it's kind of crazy how we've like built up these systems so that like essentially DEGEN can just have like a chain that works very well, but they can also have this really, really strong feedback loop in all these different ecosystems, right? DEGEN, at the end of the day, probably doesn't care where they're at, right? They probably don't care, if they're part of the super chain, not part of the super chain, if they're part of the Arbitrum ecosystem, not part of the Arbitrum ecosystem. They just want to build a chain for DEGENs, which I totally respect. But either way, they do that, but also end up giving back to both ecosystems that they're benefiting from. So I thought that was pretty cool. Shouts to Benji for the Farcaster quote here. I don't think I've had a Farcaster tweet here, for a little while, so it's kind of cool to be able to bring one up again. Speaking of L3s or orbit chains, EdgelessNetwork says, we're excited to announce the launch of EdgelessNetwork, the first protocol fee-free, oh my god, the first protocol fee-free ecosystem built as an Arbitrum Nitro chain with EigenLayer's DA solution. I don't know too much about this one, to be honest. I literally just saw it on my timeline, so I thought I'd bring it up since they're using Arbitrum technology. But they did say something interesting here, as I mentioned earlier, that it's the first ever protocol fee-free ecosystem where users can freely use the chain without having to pay the hefty fees that applications on other chains charge. So my understanding here is essentially they're saying there's no gas fees. I don't know how that works, but either way, I think it's dope. And I guess it probably is scalable and easy for them to do because they're using EigenDA, which is probably a lot cheaper than using, obviously, Ethereum in this example, even though Ethereum now is still very, very cheap. But nonetheless, still cool. As it relates to the Orbit chain stuff, as it relates to DEGEN chain, Edgeless Network, and every other Orbit chain building, I love to see people experimenting with different things, different DA solutions, different customizations to the actual code base itself, and just messing around and seeing what works for them. So yeah, shout out to Edgeless Network for using the Arbitrum tech. Ooh yeah, I got a tweet for myself here. A little bit of a shill. Is it a shill? I don't know. Not really. I'm not selling it. I tweeted, just ordered a physical version of Necromancer by Uncut Hems. Thank you, Prohibition. So this, for if you don't know, let me give you some background. So Prohibition essentially is a generative art NFT marketplace on Arbitrum. It is actually created by the Artblocks, the folks over at Artblocks, built on the Artblocks engine, Jordan Lyle, and those really dope folks. Necromancer was actually a collection that was minted very early on. I was able to actually mint one, and it's probably one of the coolest NFTs I think I have. It's so cool, and it's all generative art. It's all on chain. It's so cool. But the other day, Prohibition announced that they're actually supporting the ability to actually like have like real screen prints of these things. Like so, like I literally, for example, I just ordered one from like I think it was 0x Shop. And I'm going to put it on my wall somewhere. I don't know if I'm going to put it here because like I do like having like the plain background, but I'll put it somewhere where my fiance won't get mad at me. because only I would put something like this kind of like, you know, ominous on the wall. But I love this picture. I think it's so cool, and Uncut Hems did an amazing job with this collection. So shout outs to Prohibition and shout outs to Uncut Hems as well as 0x Shop. Oh, by the way, I should say, if you have any Prohibition pieces, definitely check it out, because I do think that some other ones can also be framed as well. Not all of them, but I think some of them can. Like the hearts that Snowfro and Jordan Lyle did, as well as some of the other collections as well. Speaking of art, we have a tweet here by Jono, also from Prohibition. He says, Size World by Creature World. Created for Schiller and the Garden Event Series at NFT NYC 2024, featuring Size Chat and Prohibition and a host of references to the Arbitrum ecosystem, this piece serves as an homage and means of community support through minting. Every 25,000 mints, Schiller will pay for travel and accommodation for an artist to attend NFT NYC this year. 25,000 mints when one artist travels, 50,000 mints, 2 artists travel. The number of artists flown to NYC will be capped at an amount TBD. Each artist will receive $5,000 budget for flight and hotel accommodations, exhibited art at the Garden, and a recorded interview. This is how we build. And they have an amazing piece, an amazing homage to the Arbitrum ecosystem here. Let's see if I can get them all. A Size Chat over here is the ape, the Arbitrum logo over here, of course. The We Do a Little podcast shill right there. Ooh, a little Size license plate. I didn't see that earlier. Get the Xi logo on this building. This is the Rug Radio logo over here. Prohibition, Offchain Labs, and of course, Floor, the app for NFTs. I think that's all. I'm pretty sure that's everything. But this is a really cool thing. Make sure if you haven't minted yet, go ahead and click on the link. I think is this the link over? Where's the link? Oh my God, there's no link here. Jeez, Jonah, what's going on? I'm gonna make sure to include the link somewhere here. But nonetheless, really cool. And it is currently minting right now. I think it is actually. I think it is a free mint though too. So definitely go ahead and mint. Currently 800 mints so far. Yeah, just do it, dude. I think you can mint like a ton of them too. I think. And as they said, it goes to supporting artists going to NFT NYC. I'm gonna be at NFT NYC as well. I'm not sure where exactly I'll be. Like I won't be at the actual event, but I'll be around since obviously I live in the city. But nonetheless, very cool piece. Shout outs to the Garden. Shout outs to Schiller and everyone, all the artists, of course, who helped make this possible. And lastly, last tweet. Oh my God, 13 minutes. Jeez. Okay, last tweet. I said something about Robinhood. So I pretty much said Robinhood x Arbitrum. It's just that simple. Guys, we need to rally around Robinhood, okay? For those of you who don't know, this Robinhood does have like an actual crypto account. It's this one right here. They have like a Robinhood app account as well, which I guess is more for the main app. But in terms of like, Arbitrum, Robinhood kind of collaboration and stuff, this is the account you want to follow. Make sure you give them a follow. Keep an eye out on the timeline for anything related to them. We gotta get a little bit of a movement going. I think behind this, I do think that there's going to be more collaboration between both accounts, hopefully soon. But either way, I think rallying as a community behind Robinhood and showing people that Robinhood does care about onboarding the Arbitrum ecosystem alongside all the community members behind it is just really key. So make sure to give them a follow. retweet this tweet. Just it's chilling. I'm just chilling. Literally, just entire episode is just chilling. Nonetheless, that being said, guys, I think I hit everything today. So appreciate you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.